been trying to get to this one. Shout out to Ben Johnson and Aidan Hutchinson for being up for the Associated Press's yearly award. Ben Johnson, I think, Assistant Coach Award, Coordinator Award finalist. Aidan Hutchinson, Rookie of the Year finalist. I think. I know they're doing offense and defense too. Pepsi got one where you can vote. The fans can vote, but I think the AP is the most, respected out of the all the awards from PFF to NBC to whoever, NFL.com. Associated Press is the ones who vote the players into the Hall of Fame and everything. So it's the more respected one historically. In college it's kind of different. When you had the BCS was more respected. The computer system, then the Associated Press is number one and all that stuff. So, but speaking on Ben Johnson first, we spoke a lot on Aidan Hutchinson. What he did this year, they was hyping him up. I didn't know Matt Patricia had brought him in. I know him and Dan Campbell, they was in Miami at the same time, so they was familiar. So I didn't know Matt Patricia brought him in. That's the only one of the few things he done. That was his best free agent, acquisition. Excuse me, bar none. And man, they were singing his praises, bro. And I think it spoke a lot because Dan Campbell really spoke on how he wanted to call plays. Like, he enjoyed calling plays, and one of the things that probably told me that Ben Johnson probably was going to be legit was him giving up the ability to call the plays. Because he wanted to do that, and he allowed Ben Johnson to, do what Ben Johnson do. He didn't try to hold Ben Johnson back. He didn't try to hold Ben Johnson's hand. He didn't try to overrule Ben Johnson. He didn't try to say, well, now, if he would have got where he was struggling, I think Dan would have stepped in and said, we need to do this and that. This is what I want to do more of. He let Ben Johnson, run the show, and Ben Johnson got better. I'd like to see a little bit more creativity in the run game. But other than that, you can't ask for more. And Jared Goff, you got to give him credit. He gave him the weapon to do what he needed to do. And I said this other day about Jared Goff. Like, I was comparing to Trey Lance when I looked at his college film and broke it down. It was take off and run or throw it down the field. That's what he was, And he has to learn to kind of, chop it up underneath. How to go through progressions, hit the timing routes, and I think he will eventually do that. But Jared Goff, he gives you the entire football field. Outside the hashes, inside the numbers, short, intermediate, deep. He covers the field, and that's his ability to make up for not being able to be mobile. And at the end of the day, that's what you'd rather have, honestly. Because mobility, you know what I'm saying? Being a great quarterback is one from the pocket. No matter how much people want to change the definition, a great quarterback is one, and you being able to win it from the pocket. That's the honest truth. But Jared Goff gives you the entire football field. He gives you the entire football field. And, they was able to take advantage of it. And you heard one defensive coordinator, I think it was during I don't know if it was the Carolina defensive coordinator or it was a random defensive coordinator, but said Ben Johnson do something different every week. He said Ben Johnson does something different every week, and you really can't get a beat. And if he able to carry that into next season, and they able to make adjustments with Jared Goff or somebody else, and they able to make those adjustments, and he able to do something creatively different and effective next year, that's what you want. You want somebody you want your food made to cook to order. That's what you want. When you go somewhere upscale like Ruth Chris, or you go to J. Alexander's, Ocean Prime, you paying good money to have your food cooked fresh and how you want it. That's what makes it so good. It's the quality of the food and the quality in which it's being cooked. little known fact, if you like carrot cake, the best carrot cake I ever had was from J. Alexander's, and it's good. I swear to God. I sometimes just go there to get the carrot cake. Trust me. It is awesome. It is awesome. But yeah, you know, some people, you know, everybody got this belief where a lot of people rather eat ramen noodles than eat cheap. And, you know, you ain't gonna, if you, like I said, y'all spend money. Like, I some things I ain't cheap with. Like a flight, I'm not cheap with a flight. I don't care. I'm not flying no questionable Spirit. It gonna have to be an emergency, and money gonna have to be funny. So I ain't bullshit with no flights. And a lot of times, at this point in my life, I'm watching like if I'm gonna eat good, I'm gonna make it count with some good quality food. Too many good restaurants out here, especially with hot groceries. I spent $300 on groceries out here. But you know, it's just you know, people be putting the wrong shit. I don't care about no Jordans and no shit. Like, I'm not about to spend $400, $500, $600 on some shoes unless I'm a reseller and we all got the same shoes on. It's the dumbest thing in the world. You've been making the same shoes forever. You know, at least spend some money that's gonna be on entertainment shit. But you see a bunch of bum dudes out here got good looking girlfriends. They don't bring shit to the table, and they got let me not get into that conversation. But yeah, Ben Johnson, man, you know, yeah, I mean, I was impressed. I mean, expectations was high. You know, I don't really have no expectations for the line, but I'd say this. He exceeded the hype. He exceeded the hype. You know, rarely in sports do you see somebody exceed the hype. LeBron exceeded the hype. You know, Ben Johnson exceeded the hype. You know, you don't see that in sports a lot. When it's a lot of hype and somebody exceeded, I mean, you got to just tip your hat off. You got to just tip your hat off to him. Because he brought something different every week. And they had their turbulence, but a lot of their turbulence, honestly, was due to injuries. That's it. That was it. I mean, and Anthony Lynn can make the same case that he just didn't have the players to compete, and that was fair. That was fair. You know, I'm not gonna fight against that, not because he black or you whatever, but that was fair. But you know, Ben Johnson had better, you know, had a better personnel. Ooh, your boy got a good parking spot today. He had better personnel. But, you know, when they didn't have it in the game, they struggled. It's true, they struggled. And that's what's gonna happen in this league. You gotta have good players, man. But I'm interested to see what he do with Jameson Williams next year. What he do with him? I forgot I left my water bottle in the back. Let me see if my long arms can get it. You know, what he can do with Jameson Williams next year, bro. I'm interested to see what they got drawn up. But I'm gonna speak on Hutchinson for a second, but I ain't gonna lie. I was most impressed with Jameson Williams and the touchdown that didn't count versus Green Bay. It was cold as hell. And he caught that ball, and he had to kind of wait for it a little bit. But when he caught that ball versus Green Bay, and he accelerated away from them two defenders, you know, I was impressed. If he was 100% healthy player coming, you know, just healthy coming out of college, I still would have been impressed. His hit when he caught that ball, he went to a different gear. You kind of started to see why. People is crazy. Do people literally out here with no jacket on in the cold out here walking? Man, people is bananas, bro. But I was impressed. But hey, Hutchinson speak for itself. I like the year Chris Olave had in New Orleans. Oh, Gary Wilson too. He didn't make the Pepsi one, but he made the AP one. Sauce Gardner had the hype being around New York. Like I said, I'd love to see Sauce or Aidan Hutchinson, two local guys, win it. So I ain't gonna get into my fandom and be like F Sauce and this, that. I ain't from Detroit, you know. I like what Gary Wilson did this year. He had a good game versus us. Chris Olave had a great year. Aidan Hutchinson, what he had, 2 or 3 picks? Forced fumble, recovered fumble, I think, or 2 recovered fumbles, 9.5 sacks. And you got to understand, he ain't have a healthy run to make for the majority of the year. So think about that for a minute. He ain't had no healthy run to make for the majority of the year. So, you know, he did that really being the only constant or consistent on the team. So yeah, man, I mean, I like to see him get it. He got the numbers. you know, and they got the story behind them. So next year is going to be a lot of expectations on the Lions. I'm most happy about getting some of these other guys back healthy. Walker, you know, seeing what Romeo look like if they bring him back. Levon Azorki hopefully get healthy. Jameson Williams. So I'm kind of excited to see, you know, the guys that haven't been around and haven't been able to stay healthy, Melifano, what way they can contribute. Jerry Jacobs coming off the injury. Jeff Okudah playing a double-digit season for the first time since Ohio State. So I'm interested to see what these dudes look back. Guys who came off major injuries this year, coming back and getting a good, clean bill of health coming into this year. Guys that ain't been healthy, getting them back. Hopefully they healthy and able to plug in. That's more important than the rookies making a jump to year 2. It's just getting them guys, because a lot of them guys significant. Josh Pascal being a clean bill of health. So I'm more excited about that right now than draft and free agency and, you know, trades and all that. So that's the, you know, the big thing to look forward to. But shout out to Hutch and Ben Johnson. And real quick, do I feel that Dan Campbell got shiced out of Coach of the Year? No, Nick Sirianni didn't make it, which he probably should be the Coach of the Year. I think Dougie Peterson, from Jacksonville. I think maybe Kansas City. Andy Reid was in there. And it was another one. But yeah, I know if Nick Sirianni ain't in there, which he probably should have won it this year. And no, everybody was talking about what is Howie Roseman doing driving this Nick Sirianni guy. And apparently he got an eye for talent. Doug Peterson is a good offensive mind, good coach. Nick Sirianni is a good offensive mind, good coach. I think he should win it, Nick Sirianni. Or Kyle Shanahan in it. Whew, you know, he's like his dad when he was in Denver. Remember they used to do that back in the Mile High Salute? Yeah, when it was Barry Sanders at the time, right? It was Barry, and everybody know Barry and Grant had Detroit on lock. It was Barry, but man, my other guy to watch, and I used to, if I met this dude, I almost met Barry, but my mom would let me go over. We was at Champs in West Bloomfield, and he was there eating. She was like, "Don't bother him." I was like, all right. But at that period, it was Terrell Davis. I was happy he got in the Hall. Terrell Davis was a mother. Woo! Terrell Davis was a bad boy. They were my guys. Look, Barry, it was Barry than everybody else, but Barry, Terrell Davis, Corey Dillon, was LaDainian Thomason. Then was my guys. Then was my backs. I used to love them, bro. You know, I was more of an LT than Marshall Faulk guy. I ain't like the greatest show on turf. Shout out to Isaac King because he played for the Lions too. But yeah, I don't think Dan Campbell got shiced. Because Nick Sirianni wasn't in there, but, you know, I think Sirianni should have won it. But, you know, Kyle Shanahan, hell of a coach, what he did with Brock Purdy. So, his dad was a great coach in Denver, you know. But, hey, let me know what you girls and guys think. Check out the Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Next subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance to get notifications. We go live or drop video financially. Want to support the channel? Cash App, $CJ Good 313, Venmo CJ Good 313, PayPal link in the description. Hit the link tree. Find me everywhere. First link in the description. Peace.